where are we going next? I'm sure everybody wants to know the answer to that question. Do we all lose our jobs? So I tell you what I think is going to happen. I think the gradation of success is going to extend out. If you have people on this side that are driven, entrepreneurial, inquisitive, have the time to do this stuff, maybe have a little bit of money to do this stuff, I think they're going to accelerate super fast.
Thank you, everyone who's joining us on this last Friday in February of 2026. We are very excited to have Jason with us again to talk about OpenClaw, particularly around security issues that he's encountered when launching OpenClaw, and he's not just showing us how he's done everything, but also tailoring it to product managers. So very excited to listen to what he's got to say. Just before we kick it off, do want to remind you, community sessions by product management exercises. We help product managers prepare for their product manager interviews. We've got a lot of training material, questions and answers you can check out. We have coaching for you when you are preparing for your interviews. We also have AI courses that are live and asynchronous as well, so you can learn in your own time or join one of our live cohorts. We'd love to have you join us. And I will put some links in Zoom, and they're also in LinkedIn as well. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Jason Long. Jason joined us last week as well. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but you're going to talk to us about OpenClaw and security issues. I'll pass it over to you, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to speak with all of you today. My name is Jason Long. I am a software developer. I'm a UX designer. I am a product owner. I'm also a CEO. I've run my own businesses. I've worked as a private equity operator. I have done a whole bunch of different things, had a couple of good exits, that kind of thing. And these days, I am the CEO at JHMG, which is a software development firm and SaaS consultancy, as well as the CEO of one or two other small businesses, which are a bit smaller. And so today I'm going to talk to you guys about, I skipped something. And I love AI. I'm so excited about all the stuff that's happening with AI right now. I feel like if you're working with AI, instead of losing your job like people are worried about, you are gaining so many more jobs. And it is just like, I feel like I've been working like 15 hours a day recently because there's just so much to do and so much I can do by myself now. And so that's what I want to talk to you guys about, is what can you do? What should you do? What shouldn't you do? What are the risks that you take with some of these things, etc. We're going to talk, I had two things prepared for today: security and some product manager specific things that you can do in skill sets. And I actually built an entire skills catalog, OpenClaw skill set catalog, that I'm going to take you guys through and show you how to use it. I have to tell you right now, I'm not operating as a product owner or product manager within my company at the moment. So I built these from my experience, but I'm not like using them every day. However, as soon as I built them, I gave them my team and I was like, hey guys, you guys should take a look at this. So I have all of those for you. I'm going to walk you through how I do all that stuff. I did also build a bunch of other stuff that I do use every single day, and we can talk about that a little bit as well. Before I get going on this, does anybody have any like burning questions that they want me to address today? Is there anything that you guys are like, I need to know this thing, and I'll make sure that I bring it up as I get to that area? I don't know if they can turn their sound on or off. They just have to chat in here.
Yeah, you can put it in the chat if you're in Zoom, or speak up. And if you're in LinkedIn, if you could put it in the chat, I'll pick it up and let Jason know.
All right. So while we wait for that, and even if we don't, let's keep on going. And let me share my screen real quick. Present this. Give me a sec. And if you don't see my screen in a second, let me know. I think you should see it. Got it? Yep. All right. Perfect. All right. So like I said, OpenClaw for product managers. So we're going to talk about security. We're going to talk about skills, and then we're going to answer questions. So let's get going. Before you touch the system, I have a story for you. So I got all excited about OpenClaw. And I originally had it on one of my secondary computers or tertiary computers that sits beside my desk. And I was like, man, this thing is so valuable. I've got to put it up online. I've got to be able to access it 100% of the time. And so I put it up online. I spent like a day getting it all set up. I put it onto a hardened um, DigitalOcean instance. And I put it out there. I started using it. I plugged it into all the things that I need, and then I got a hacking attempt. And they didn't get through my defenses, but I saw the danger, and then I really I didn't really pay attention because I didn't really think I was going to get hacked, just like everybody else. And so I saw how they did it though, and I realized that it's really easy to attack this thing. It's really, 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 really easy to attack this thing. And if you don't put in place a lot of security, you can really have serious problems. And let me explain. I think I did a thing here. Yeah, I'm gonna do this my first one, and I'm gonna do the little video, the presentation I got on this. Let me explain what happens if you do what I did, which was a horrible idea, and I mean, one of the most valuable things you can do is give it access to your email, right? Because like not to write, just to read it, because you need the system to know what you're doing all the time and how everything is happening in order to really have a great usable system. And so I gave it access to my email, but then I realized after that hacking attempt, well, shoot, if somebody gets access to this, they can read everything in my email. Like if they maybe not read, but they can request everything in my email. They can go in and take a look at my banking. They can go in and get access to, let's say, change one of my passwords and then have the password sent via the email and then put in the code that they sent and then reset the password and lock me out. And then I was like, okay, I got to be really, really careful with this thing because that's not just all the business, that's also my personal stuff. Like there's tons of stuff in there. And your Outlook and your Gmail environments, those are built to be extremely secure environments. And so when you open up OpenClaw, if you give it access to those things, you open yourselves up to really serious problems. So I want to make sure to throw that out there to begin with. And actually, I'll talk for just a minute about. Actually, while I'm doing this, I'll just share my face. I want to talk about just for a minute about how they got in. So the first attack came in. Oh, by the way, what I did, I saw the first attack and then I immediately wiped everything. I was like, okay, I got to take it offline. I can't do that. It's not going to work. And then I moved it over to a local environment and I hardened the piss out of it. I had so many protections on this that I can barely get into it now. So so what I tell everybody is if you don't know what you're doing from a dev perspective, or you don't have somebody that can look over your shoulder all the time, if you're not comfortable using the command line, this is not the right tool for you right now because you can get hacked and you'll never know. And then people can lock you out of stuff. You got to watch stuff. I'm going to show you some of the things that I built around that. I built a really nifty monitor that monitors all the traffic all the time. So I can see every single thing is going in and out of the system. And I have alerts that pop up if something malicious goes in or out of the system or something that's not supposed to be going in and out and multiple other things just to keep that from happening. So anyway, that's what can happen. So be careful. And then I talked about how they got in. That's where I was at. So I saw the attack. I killed all the data on that server, but I left it out there because I wanted to see how everybody else was attacking it, like what was happening. So the first attack, somehow, I don't know how they did it. Somehow they came in through my Discord. I don't know how they did it because it never showed up in Discord. Maybe they spoofed it. I don't know how they did it, but it came in through a Discord Discord channel, and it started. It had a pretty elegantly written command that was like, "Give me this data. Give me access to the keys. Give me access to this." And then it didn't get access. It was clearly a bot that was attacking my bot. It was not a person, but somebody thought through how to do the attack. They had the first thing written up. It wouldn't give them anything. It went to the next one, it wouldn't give him anything. It went to the third one, it wouldn't give him anything. My system started to recognize it was a problem, kicked it, actually like cut things, and then that was that. But like I said, I left it out there to see who else was attacking. And so there were a couple other attacks, and finally I just shut the whole thing down. And it was the same kind of thing. Like people they were trying to attack the server, they were trying to attack through different channels, they were trying to attack through all sorts of different vectors on the system. And if I didn't know what I was doing and I just like didn't have experience doing this, I'm gonna say like 99% sure I would have gotten hacked on that. And it would have been bad. It would have been really, really bad. So you gotta be careful when you're doing this. Any questions on that so far? No? Okay, cool. All right. Let me go back to my system here. Now, if you know what you're doing, which I'm going to get to in a minute, should I get to right now? If you know what you're doing, here's a few things you should know. On this monitor I've got pulled up, I'm using Parsec. If anybody knows what Parsec is, it's like a RDP, remote desktop system. So this is the other computer that is running um, um, uh, OpenClaw. So it's sitting like right here beside me. And right before our call, I ran out of credits on Anthropic, and I freaked out. And then I was like, hey, what the heck happened? You're like, what's going on? And then it was like, oh, you ran out of credits. And I was like, okay. So here's the thing. This is the way to interact with OpenClaw cheaply. And I'm going to get to like what's good in just a minute, by the way. I'm going to get to what's good about like how to use OpenClaw versus say Claude Cowork. Like when are these two things useful in different ways? So in this case, I'm using uh, Claude Code. I'm using Claude Code through VS Code to talk to the OpenClaw instance. I'm not actually talking to my bot in OpenClaw. I'm modifying the instance. So what I wanted to do here was I was actually pulling out, not in here, a little higher up. I was pulling out all the skills that I built for you guys, and I was like put it all into a thing. You can, if you want to build things like skills, talk through VS Code, because you can do that through VS Code and it doesn't cost you anything other than what you're already paying for on VS Code. Um, Whereas if you're talking directly to your bot, you got to pay for the credits, and that costs you money. And actually, talking about one other issue it's not security, but something you should know about. Everybody is locking this stuff out now. You can't use your token anymore to do it. You have to pay for credits to do it because the token count is really high. And so companies like Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI are just like you cannot use tokens to do this. Meaning, like attach it to the system you pay for monthly. You have to pay credit by credit on the system. So I limit the amount that I talk to the bot unless I really, really need things done, so I keep my cost down. We can also talk about later, if you want to talk about it, how to minimize costs on the system. But if I'm changing anything, I talk through here. Now let's go to. I was going to do something on this machine. What was I going to do? I was going to talk about the OpenClaw monitor. I know. All right, there we go. So if you're looking at the security side of things, this is what I ended up building. I built this monitor that has a cutoff switch on it. So in here, I can see all my squid traffic. This is one of the gates keeping people out. I can see all of my agent traffic, so I can see everything that's happening with the agent. You can see all my chats with Discord in here. And I can see the gate audit, like what's going on, turning the gate on and off. This is my gate saying data can come in and out, in and out, in and out, etc. And then you can see all of my different items that are connected in here and up here. And then I have a quick kill where I can just come down here to close all and just kill it right away. So if I see something in here that shouldn't be in here, I come to close all and it kills the entire system. It doesn't kill the system. Like I can just turn it back on, but it kills the access to all of the API keys and a variety of other things. So this is just one level of security that I have within the system right now. And so like it's something that I think is well worth doing. And that said, let's go back over to how to harden the system. My recommendation is on AI Maker. There's a Substack, AI Maker Substack. There's which I'll share this with everybody. OpenClaw security hardening guide. read this thing. There is an Ansible in here, which is like a process for setting up that is in GitHub that you can run that sets the whole thing up super hardened. It does a really good job of hardening the system on a local device or on a remote device. So if you're looking to deploy the system, this has been one of the better systems that I've found. Honestly, it's probably been the best system that I've found to do this. So let me see if I can find that Ansible. It's right here. Here's the Ansible. Here's the playbook right there. So you can see it on GitHub. All you have to do is just take this link, go into your VS Code, and say, "Hey, VS Code, here's my folder for OpenClaw. Run this Ansible, get the whole thing set up there, and VS Code will set up the whole thing for you." If you're working on Windows, if you're working on a Windows machine, not a Mac, not a Linux environment, you can't run Oracle. No, shoot, what's it called? You can't run Oracle. I don't know what the heck it's called. Box for Oracle, the virtual box for Oracle. So you have to run it in WSL, which is like the Windows Linux machine, like virtual machine. And when you run it in WSL, it's not quite as secure, but it's I think with everything that Ansible does, with the Squid proxy, with the rootless podman deployment, with other items in here, and then a few of the other items that I put in place, you're in pretty good shape. So once again, you got to watch it, you got to be careful, but this is a great place to go on that. Any questions on security before we move on? Let me see if I think there was somebody who said something. Will you get a recording? Yeah, you get a recording. I think actually that's up to Ida. So
Yes,
any
they do get.
questions? Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
we'll post it on productmanagementexercises.com.
Excellent. Okay. And then I just did like a little quick story for everybody, like what could happen. So you got Sarah. Sarah sets it up, connects it to Gmail, Slack, and Notion, and GitHub. She installs a skill from Claude Hub. This is what happens. There are tons of skills on Claude Hub that hack your system. There's tons of them. Like somebody immediately realized that they could do this and just like started stealing data left and right. I think one of the most downloaded skills had malicious software in there. And so for anybody who's technical in here, it's going to look something like this. All right there. Uh, Process that, and then basically just send it off. And they mask it as a health sync. So yeah, I mean like super easy, and it's like I said, there's very little hardening custom built into the system, really hardly any hardening custom built into the system. So you gotta watch out for this stuff. What do we really need a Mac Mini to set it up, or set up via AI Maker, VS Code, help personal machine be safe? I'll talk to that. Actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and answer that. So, yeah, VS Code can definitely help your personal machine be safe because you can go in and you can do things like, "Hey, VS Code, is my system okay?" What are the vulnerabilities that my OpenClaw instance has in place right now, and how would you fix them? I wouldn't just ask it one time though. At one time though, ask it a number of times. And like I said, you got to be somewhat familiar with what it's doing to know if what it's telling you is the right thing. That's one of the biggest things with this. If you don't know what it's telling you is the right thing, like, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. How do we harden? All right, so that's Christian just asked, how do we harden? That was what I just talked about. I think maybe you just came in a little bit late, but like the hardening, the Ansible system, setting up the reverse the Squid proxy with egress filtering, rootless podman is really good. Automated identity generation, and then the monitor I just showed you. And then the other thing that I did, a couple other things that I did on hardening was I built into memory a section that could technically be rewritten as a hard to that tells it never to give away anything. That was actually that was one of the reasons I realized like it was so unsafe is because like had I not written in some of these on that first hacking attempt, They might have gotten it. There are also other things that you can do where you can set environment variables outside of the container that it's in, so that it can't actually see those environment variables, and the environment variables have all your keys in them. But it's really hard to do that all the time. So like, and that was another reason. Like it can use it, but it can't see it. And so that's there are ways that you can set up things like that. Let's see if we got any more questions. All right, just join, but listen. Okay, cool. No worries. All right. Let's keep going. All right. Go back over to my presentation. So this is how they get it in. This is one of the ways. Like they can attack via a skill that you download. They can attack directly through one of your open channels like Discord or Slack or whatever you have connected. They can attack the server a lot of times because if you don't know how you're setting up the server properly, they can attack that. There's so much attack space here. Like what do they call it? Attack surface area, I think is the technical term there. And there's bots out there trying to hack it all the time. So just be careful. All right. Before I move on, any other questions about attack vectors and hardening? I know that kind of like we can go deep into it, but I think there's a lot of people in here that wouldn't know what I was talking about. Give you guys a second if you have any more hardening questions. Cool. Nothing yet. All right. Once again, use this. This covers pretty much everything. And this guy clearly knew what he was doing much better than me. Hardcore dev built this stuff out. All right. Now, let's move on to fun stuff. Let's talk about, one other thing. All right. So I got to go back in. I talked about this last time. Cost. OpenClaw is expensive. You got to pay for APIs. And so API tokens, and they're expensive. They're something like 90% more expensive than paying the monthly fee. And you can't use that token anymore. They're banning people that are using the token, which gives you access to use the monthly fee tokens that you're paying for for OpenClaw. So it's expensive. So you got to find ways to minimize that cost and use it for the things that are really valuable. I could do a whole talk on just how to set up all of the different agents and how to set up all of the different models for different things. Like, for example, I use Gemini for doing summarization. I'm using Sonnet for a lot of like the standard stuff. And I use Opus for like the heavy, like really thinking stuff. But there's a bunch of other things as well. Like I'm using OpenAI for Whisper so that I can just give it a voice note and it responds. I'm using OpenAI for other things as well, and different kinds of models for different things so I can bring my cost down on using the system. All right, but there's lots of tools coming up. So like I said, Claude Cowork, Perplexity just put out Perplexity Computer like yesterday, which does a lot of what Claude Cowork does. I haven't dug into it because it's like $200 a month and I want to spend $200 yet. And I'm using Claude Cowork every day. So here's what it comes down to. Ad hoc requests. If you're sitting in front of your computer, just use Claude Cowork. It works great. It's not as autonomous. That's really the big difference between OpenClaw and Claude Cowork, is you gotta sit there and watch Claude Cowork, and OpenClaw can just go. For example, right before this meeting, I had a sales call. I had already written up a proposal. We had architecture documents. We had multiple architecture documents. We had a web-based like design proposal thing, and I had the meeting. And I just told as soon as it was done, I went to Discord and I was like, my bot's name is Sam. I was like, Sam, I want you to take the meeting notes from the recording and compare it to what's in my proposal, and take all the stuff from the meeting and build a new proposal with all the stuff they asked for, and then email it to me and email it to the technical sales guy as well, and just put it together and tell me what else I need to do. And it's like, all right, cool, man, done, and just like moves on, gets the thing done. That's autonomous. Like that's like, thinking without you. Claude would probably have a few more things, but if I'm sitting right in front of the computer, it's fine. But a lot of times those like do lots of things and chain them all together. I send that off to OpenClaw. All right, recurring monitoring on Claude Cowork. So there are ways to do things for recurring now. Like it's a little, it's not that good That's the thing. It actually still takes some oversight. I think there's ways to get around it. I was actually playing with it yesterday. Um, and I think there's ways to get around that, but it's not as easy as OpenClaw, not by a long shot. It's still going to kind of catch you on some stuff. All right, multi-step research. Um, both are good. I use OpenClaw for stuff that's just like I know exactly what I need to do, and it's chained together stuff, and I just want to do it and just not even think about it. I send it to OpenClaw. For stuff where I'm going to be involved, I take care of that on Cowork. Writing assistance at 100% Cowork. Cross tool workflows, mostly on OpenClaw. Although if it's like simple stuff, I do it on Cowork. And then overnight, so I used to do overnight stuff on OpenClaw, but I turn it off at night because that's when the hackers always attack around like 1:30 in the morning. So it's if you leave it on overnight, you got to watch out for that. All right. As I'm going along, if you guys have questions, throw them into the chat and I'll get them answered. All right, where are we at on this? OpenClaw. All right, so I think I pretty well covered this stuff, like when to use it. So now we're going to get into um, product managers and like what you guys can use this thing for and what you can automate with this thing. And I went ahead and set all this stuff up, and I have an entire all these things. I custom built all of these skills, and I have them all ready for you in a zip file with everything. This has no malicious code on it, obviously. So the thing that I'm finding the most valuable is this second brain. And it's actually, I have the second brain item built here, and then I built an improved one for another instance. I gotta change that out. But here's the way it works. I grabbed the ontology skill from ClawHub, and I improved upon the ontology skill set. And then I built one also for Cowork. So I can have my this thing that Claude Cowork. So I have that build the whole thing out for me, so it doesn't cost me any money because it just reads all my emails and builds everything out. And then I use OpenClaw to reference it. So this way I can build everything with one and then reference it with the other. And the way that works is that it'll say like you have you, and then I have these projects, and these projects have these team members, and these team members are good at this and bad at this and good at this and bad at this and whatever it is. And I have these goals for my life, and I have these, what are these investments? If you want to use it for personal stuff, if you use it in business, I probably wouldn't put that in there. But whatever the stuff is that you've got, and it'll do all of the connections for everything. And so this way, whenever I have it write emails, I always have it go and check my second brain so it knows all the connections to everything. And it can write way more informed emails because it knows all of the old problems. It knows what's going on in my life. It knows where things are on different projects, and it stores all that stuff. So that second brain has really increased the quality of the work that the machine puts out, both for OpenClaw and for Claude Cowork. It's a little tricky to get Claude Cowork to do it. You have to put it into a directory outside of the Cowork directory, but it still works. Okay. Any questions on that? Like this, it's really cool. It's really, really cool because I don't know about you guys, but I get a lot of stuff like just put on my calendar where it's like I had this meeting with this person. I don't remember who they are or what we talked about or what was going on with them. And, I can have the system go and like read my email and double check and all of that. But in a lot of cases now, like it's super fast because it checks my second brain and it's got everything already listed in there. All right, what was my methodology for gathering up material? How large is that file? Great question, Catherine. It was so easy. This is why these things are so good. I literally just told it. I gave Cowork access to my email and to my Google Docs and to my personal email and to I have a couple different businesses, so a couple different businesses and to my Asana, and I said and read only access to all that stuff, and I was like, read all this stuff and just build everything. Like that was it. Like I just read the last 6 months of emails and build everything in the second brain. That was it. That's how I did it. And I went back and double checked it, and it was perfect. Like I think I saw. No, actually, I thought I saw something, and then it wasn't actually a problem. So, yeah, it was as easy as just telling it like build it out. That was it. It was so simple. Does that answer your question, Catherine? Perfect. All right. She said yes. All right. Competitive monitor. Let's get into competitive monitor. And actually, while we do this, I want to walk you through what this looks like. So my company works. We work in a lot of different areas. I didn't build it any of my company stuff for this because I didn't want to have all my other business stuff in there while we were talking. So what I did is I built it in Notion for you, and I built it in Discord. And I do talk to my bot on Discord, but the rest of the company, like I have it, my main OpenClaw bot kind of separated from the rest of the business at this point, just because I feel kind of bad because like I told other people they can't do it, and I'm doing it. Don't tell anybody. How many people are here? There's like 1,000 people here. So yeah. Anyway, just because of the danger on it. So anyway, um, let's go take a look here. So in my OpenClaw area, or in my tangent's the name of my umbrella business here. So what it does is every day I get my daily brief here, my meeting prep for tomorrow here, which is not up to date because I had a couple hiccups resetting some items on the system while I was building stuff for you guys. My weekly overview, all the leads that are coming in, all my other leads, my clients, my family stuff, daily briefing, me asking the system and it not telling me that it was out of tokens, all sorts of stuff. But I run it all right here. If I that this is like the ongoing day to day that I get. So I have like everything broken up into these major buckets for myself, put into this system. This way I can see the feed all the time about what's going on across all my different businesses, all my different sales, all my different projects that are running, everything moving and done automatically. That's really nice. The other thing though you can do is things like, so for example, on the competitive monitor, if you want something that's just running by you all the time, you could drop it into a Discord channel and you could just see like every day, here's all the what's happening with all your competition all the time. So you could look at all of the websites for your competition, all of the new releases that they're doing. If they're posting new stuff, you get to see it minute by minute. Maybe not minute by minute, day by day. You could do minute by minute. Um, why Discord? Somebody asked me why Discord. So, like I said, the company works in Slack, but I didn't want to put it into Slack. There's just too much sensitive stuff in there, and I'm still not comfortable enough, even with my own ability on securing the system. So I just have it in my own personal area. That's why it's a safety and security thing. It's just too much data in that system, and I just wasn't comfortable enough yet. Maybe and actually I can actually speak to that a little bit more. I believe Claude and OpenAI, or yeah, Claude and OpenAI are both going to come out with a system that is like OpenClaw, just way safer. I mean, obviously they're doing it with Cowork now, but I think that we're going to see that new system come out in like weeks to months. Maybe days. I don't know. Like OpenAI immediately acquired I don't know, it was the IP or whatever it was from the guy that built OpenClaw. And so they're obviously doing something with it. So I think that we're going to see OpenClaw maybe stay as like a dev tool in the future, and then these big companies are going to come out with something that's like rock solid, stable, and most people are going to shift over to that kind of tool. Okay, going back to competitive monitor. So what I did is in here, I built it for you. So where did I put the thing? Feedback, blah, 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 price transparency, requests. No, I'm in the wrong spot. Content column. This is not the right spot. Where did I put all my stuff in here? I had this thing running yesterday for you guys. No? Where the heck did it go? Oh, well, you know what? Maybe I lost it somehow. I was in here just the other day. No, yeah, automation launch. Maybe this is it. Okay. So, yeah, there we go. Research briefs. That's what I was looking for, some of this stuff. So I had this stuff filled in like just a couple days ago when I was prepping for you guys. I'm looking for the specific one that had Maybe this is it. All right. So what I had it do is just an example of what this thing can do. So you can come into here and you could have it put together. You can have a skill set built for competition research and look at what everybody else in the industry is doing. You can just say like this company, this company, this company. And by the way, go look for everybody else that's doing the same thing. And every single day, tell me what other companies are doing better than we're doing and how I can improve upon that and how we as a team or as a company can improve upon that. And you just get that created right in a essentially a database or a wiki inside of something like Notion. Um, Karen asked, is it secure to give personal emails as of today, Claude Cowork access to personal emails as of today? Is that secure? You're still putting stuff into an LLM. I'm not that concerned about it because I think it's all kind of like Google has it, right? Claude is going to have it. Like other people are going to, like other companies probably going to have it. Like, is it the best idea ever? Probably not. But if you want access to these things and you want the power to use all of this information to speed things up for yourselves, that's the trade-off, right? Could it be used maliciously? Could Claude be hacked? 100%. But I think if Claude gets hacked, I'm such a small player, I don't think they're coming after me. Maybe some of you guys, but not me. I think. So anyway, going back to this stuff. I hope that's answered for you, Karen. So the answer is I think so, enough for me to give access to the system, but there is always a risk. So you never know. Okay, competitive monitor. We just talked about that, so you can find everything that's going on all the time for all your competition, centralize it, run another agent against that to check and see what can be done against your system, and you can have some of the top things that are happening that other people are doing that you can now use to beat them, and you can do that overnight, automatically while you sleep, and then have an analysis put together ready in the morning for you every single day. Great stuff to talk about with the teams that you're leading. Feedback aggregator. So reads 7 days of Slack and Discord channels, extracts themes, maps to product areas, counts frequency, post-structured Monday digest. Technically speaking, you can do something similar in Cowork. But I found it to be a little bit easier to string together a lot of these things in OpenClaw. Like some of this heavy like analysis stuff, like it's expensive, but I found it a little bit easier to do that. Like I can just be like, hey, do it. I put together a cron job on it and it just runs. And I come in the morning, I'm like, boom, there it is. Everything looks great. And it can even, you can build out charts and graphs and all the other things for you, as you guys know. All right. Release notes drafting. I'm sure you guys have all put together release notes, and it's always a pain. At this point, so having it run through everything, put together everything that's being shipped, write it all up is actually pretty easy. I'm sure most people here are already doing that. But you can do additional stuff as well with it. So you could build the release notes draft, and then you could build a secondary skill that's going to take that. We used to do, God, what were they called? They were PDFs. They were like one-shot PDFs. So I used to run a big healthcare tech company, and it in the long-term care space. And whenever we did a new release, we did these set of PDFs that people would literally just print, because we had like a lot of people using this system were nurses that weren't necessarily tech savvy, and we make a change and we have like 20,000 people get upset about it. They'd like it eventually, but they would get upset about it sometimes. So what we do is we print these things. They print these things out and they stick them beside their computers. And you can actually just have another skill that goes through all of your notes, takes some screenshots, and actually builds out some of that stuff for you. It might not get you 100% of the way there, but it could get you like 85% of the way there. And that I could see that being a really nice thing in addition to the release notes drafting. Inbox triage. You can use Cowork for this, but a lot of times I like to just wake up in the morning and just have it done. Like I said, right now I'm not using my Claude bot machine when I'm not there in front of it, but maybe in a little bit, if I feel more comfortable, I'll start doing this again and just ready to go in the morning. It's pretty quick anyway. Roadmap research. So this is in line with that competitive monitor that you can essentially figure out what to do, and then building out the plan for how to do it is really nice as well. So for anybody that is, for example, let me actually I'll show you this. Pretty cool. I was pretty happy with this. This is in VS Code. So at my company, we use a CRM called 20. It's an open source CRM. And my sales teams are always like, man, it takes a while to put stuff into the CRM. It takes a while to put stuff into any CRM. It's no different than HubSpot or Salesforce or anything else. Um, Costs less money, obviously, but it's really no different in time. But there's more and more plugins out there for just being able to have a voice system to do it. So what I did this morning is somebody mentioned that to me, and I was like, that's a really good idea. And I had this system running and OpenClaw looking at it as it was going along, and I built out a voice interaction system for my 20 instance while I was in meetings today. Haven't tested it yet. We'll see how it goes. Like probably a day of testing to get it done, but it's just unbelievable. But when it comes to that roadmap research assistant, having it write everything out, and this is what I was going to show you guys, write everything out and put it into a product requirements document for you is just magic. If you just say like, here's all the stuff that everybody else is doing, I need to figure out how to put that together. Boom, PRD is already built, and you have specs around how you like your PRDs done. It's just magic, and it really is. Like I think we're at a point where it's for this stuff is indistinguishable from magic, in my opinion. All right, let me see if I got anything else in here that's really really nice. I think that was most of it. That's how I'm doing stuff that are that is related most to you guys' role as product managers. Now let me remember what I got. All right, we talked about cost. This is about what I'm spending right now, except for last week I screwed it up. I spent like $20 last week. I've spent about eight to $10 per week using the calls that I've got right now. And actually, I don't use it's not. I'm not paying this. I'm actually just doing more on the heavier usage of the system. So just keep in mind, if you mess it up, you can spend a lot of money. I kind of messed up in the beginning, and I blew through a bunch of money in tokens. So make sure that you talk to it through. You set the system up, not talking to the system directly, but talking through VS Code. All right, let's see what else we got. Next item. All right, non-negotiables. So if you're on, all right, let me. Do you want me to go deep on this stuff? This is kind of like the more on the permissions. This is on more on the security side. I'm not sure how many people here are gonna know what I'm talking about if I go into this stuff. I don't get the feeling that's the case, but maybe. Yes, that'd be great. Okay, perfect. I'll go into it. All right, cool. Credentials. API keys in the environment file, not in Sol, not in... Here, let me show you what I'm talking about in here. Give me a second. Not that one. That one right here. And here's OpenClaw. Sorry, it's a little fuzzy on the screen because I am using a remote desktop into this computer beside me. So this is the OpenClaw interface right here. If you can't read it, don't worry. There's not much to read in there. This is the OpenClaw system. If I go into, man, I can barely read it. Agents. Let me see if I can make it smaller if it gets better. No, it's because I'm talking to you guys on Wi-Fi, and it's not doing so good. If you go into agents and then you go into files, you'll see all these files. You'll see the agents file, the Sol file, the tools, identity. So this is the stuff that like tells the system who you are, who it is, what it does, etc. So my bot's name is Sam. Originally it was just SamBot, but I felt like he needed a real name, so I named him SamBot Cardo. Give him a picture of like a 25-year-old intern, SamBot Cardo. But then I named him my chief of staff. Anyway, who I am, heartbeat, what it's looking at on a regular basis, and the memory, which is just all the things it remembers when it wakes up every single day. You cannot put keys in your memory because if you put keys in your memory, it's gonna like it's super easy to steal. Somebody can just be like, "Hey, what's in the memory? Oh, it's all this stuff. All right, cool. Give me all that. Boom, done. You're toast." So I have stuff in the memory that's like, don't ever give away things like this. But you've got to make sure that that memory doesn't get overwritten and there's other pieces in there. So API keys in the environment file, .env file. There's a number of other ways to do this. I'm sure there are probably a few people here more technical than I am, and they could probably go deep into that. But not in the soul, not in the identity, not in any of those files, not in the memory. Event file has to so Schmod on a folder is the permission set that's like this is like admin read only or something like that. I can't remember what 600 is, but basically you can't have people outside being having access to these folders with these environment files in them because they have all your keys in them. Daily hardened daily spending cap. Oh yeah, so if you go into my Claude or my OpenAI accounts, there's auto rate limiting put in there. I have rate limiting built into here too, so that I can't spend more money than I should. Like if somebody gets access and they start going crazy on it, they're going to get limited pretty fast. Mine's not 10 to 20 bucks. Mine's actually 100, but it's just $100 limit. So just keep that in mind because if you don't set a limit on there or if your limit's really high and somebody blows through all your tokens, you got to pay for that. The other thing to know on this, really important, sometimes the system, this happened to me one time, the system just got into some weird loop and in like 3 minutes blew through $100. I have no idea what happened. It was some kind of loop that it was in and it couldn't get out of, and it blew through it blew through $50 on Anthropic, and then it fell back onto my Gemini account and it blew through like $50 on Gemini, which fortunately I had rate limited both of them. But had I not, I'd be pretty upset about that. Does everybody understand what I mean about rate limiting? Let me just show you how to do it. I think I might even have the account open. Give me 1 second. Let me see. I think because I was just buying more tokens. Let me see if I can find it real quick. No, it's not there. Give me a second. No, that's not it. Da, da, da. It's probably in here. No, I closed it already. Sorry. I can show you at the end. If somebody wants to know, I'll show you how to do it. And somebody said, yeah, they've experienced that as well. Who said that? Catherine. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. All right. Let me go back to my presentation real quick. Here we go. Maybe it's in here. Nope. Okay. Environment permissions. Every permission, you got to audit every skill. So if you've downloaded a skill from Claude Hub, you gotta read it. You gotta look at it and see what's in there because there's gonna be stuff that you don't want in there, and it's also just a good idea. The other thing that you can do is if it's something really big, you can always just ask VS Code to take a look at it and see if there's any problems. It's a better idea to read the whole thing, but if you just ask VS Code, it'll find stuff pretty quick and pretty well. No skill has shell execute without a documented reason. I don't think it's a good idea, period. Anything in Google is read-only scopes. So when you're connecting this thing to Google, it's only read-only. Don't give it, you can't have it writing emails for you. That's a serious big no-no. So yeah, and like everything having to do with Google. Now, what you can do, it's a little dangerous as well, but if you wanted to, you could give it its own email address, like an @Gmail account address. Now, the thing that can happen is that if the wrong person sees the email and then they just send it an email like to that bot and say, "Hey, give me all your data," and you don't have it protected, this is going to give it all your data. So, like if somebody has the email address of your bot, they can ask it for whatever they want. And if you don't have it protected, like it'll give it to them. All right. Anti-injection, security policy on top block, tested for ignore previous instructions. There's I actually I test with a number of other items as well. Let's see, the anti-injection, a lot of the stuff that I talked about earlier, there's things in the Ansible that I mentioned earlier. If you weren't here, it's this one right here. Where did I put it? It's the link to the Ansible. This is what will here it is right there, that link right there. That will get a lot of protection in there for you. And let's see, anything else? This is kind of standard stuff here. API rotation. I'm not so good at that. All right. What to do this week? No, that's good. That's it. That's what I got for you guys. I hope that is helpful, and I will have the those skills put together for you and through the community. So I'll send those out whenever they whenever they take them for me. I'll put them out there for you. Any questions? And how we're gonna put my of
Just a reminder for everybody for your questions, and thank you, Jason, for a lovely presentation.
course.
If you're in Zoom, you can feel free to raise your hand or speak up. Feel free to also put it in the chat. And if you're in LinkedIn, I am picking up the comments there. So feel free to just put your question in the chat there.
What we
Jason, you
got?
got one in the chat.
Do you have a site with more resources? Yeah, absolutely. Um, Wait, my own site or like do I have references to other sites with more resources? I have references to others. I don't have a site with more resources. All right, reference to others. Perfect. Just OpenClaw.ai has a ton of stuff in there and links to stuff. Claw Hub is where all the skills are being uploaded, but like I said, tons of them have malicious stuff, so be careful. Um, that that link that I referenced, I'll go ahead and put it in the LinkedIn for you guys right now, just so you have it. Um, the link that I referenced earlier here, the hardening one, there's a number of links in there as well, I believe. Like the Ansible is in there, the playbook is in there. There's all sorts of other pieces in here. If you're looking for, are you looking for more on the security side, or are you looking for more on the like what you can do with it side? Because it's two like really different areas of everything. Of course, a silly question on my part. So. Um, yeah, actually I don't. I like the security stuff I had to look up. The what you can do with it, I have so many ideas that my limitation is not looking up information, it's trying to do all the stuff that's in my head. So I haven't even gone to look for other stuff yet. It's I think that if Catherine, are you technical? Can you use VS Code? If it's writing on stuff out, do you know what it's talking about? Perfect. All right. Then just go into VS Code and just there's um what I would do is I'd probably just list all of the ideas that you have and ask it what are the ways I'm this kind of role and I do this kind of thing and I have these top problems. What do you think I like ask VS Code, what do you think I can use OpenClaw to do for me? And it'll give you actually I have a list. I actually I had it open a minute ago. Let me see if I can find it because I asked the same thing and I was like what can we do to make this even better? And where did I put the thing? Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it for you. Where did I put it? It made me this really nice list of just like all the stuff it thought I could do. And then I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I had in mind. Like that's here we go. I found it. Give me a sec. All right. Let me share my screen again. Yeah, it seems to be dated how fast things are moving. Yes. Everything is moving so unbelievably fast that it's hard to keep up with anything. So like I did this February 7th. I've done almost everything on here, but at the same time, as soon as I finish one thing, like I'm right on to the next. So I was like, what can you do? And it was like email management, which I didn't let it do. Calendar optimization, which I did let it do. Task management, I let my bot go to town on my Asana board because it was so. I had so many old tasks I hadn't finished. It just needed to clean up, and I've been ignoring for a long time and I put all of this stuff in place. I put the weekly review ritual, everything, and it just does it, and it's great. Um, the first day that I got started, uh, I I messed up the permissions, and I gave it write access to my Gmail to my Google Docs, and I was like, well, while you're in there, let's go ahead and just clean everything up because once again I kind of it's been years and years and years. I had all these like rootless files or files just sitting on the root. I had like all this stuff that was just disorganized And it put together a great list and just organized my entire drive for me and did a great job. I did have it do it in phases though, which was really nice. Financial visibility, I haven't gotten to this yet because the finance team takes care of most of that stuff. Relationship CRM, I'm doing so much stuff on that piece right now because that's a lot of what I do. Content marketing, I'm building out an application where I can just talk and talk about the meetings that I had through the day and all the stuff that I learned and blah, blah, blah. And it will build out my LinkedIn posts. It'll build out my blog posts. It'll build out my newsletter. And it just like builds all that stuff. I got that idea from a buddy of mine, Wes Bush, who does a great job at that. And he was doing the same thing. And I was like, I'm going to copy what you're doing. Personal productivity, automation, opportunities. Anyway, so yeah, so I literally just asked it and I was like, let's go on this stuff. This is I don't know, a couple of weeks of work by itself. I hope that that's helpful for you. Are there resources or people who you follow? Um, and thank you for I appreciate your comment, your kind words on there. Um, there's a guy on LinkedIn. I don't remember his name now. He's like a famous guy, and I read what he says, and I don't. You can tell how on top of it I am. I don't remember the guy's name. I could pull up my LinkedIn and see if I could find his name. I'll post it afterwards. I'll go look because I do follow a couple people, but they just kind of show up on my feed. I don't like go looking for them though. So it is more about like most of what I'm interested in is what happens next because like that's the real killer question, isn't it? Where are we going next? Like yeah, that's yeah. I can say I'm sure everybody wants to know the answer to that question. Do we all lose our jobs, or do we all? Or so I tell you what I think is going to happen. I think the gradation of success is going to extend out, and what I mean by that is that if you have people on this side that are driven, entrepreneurial, inquisitive, have the time to do this stuff, maybe have a little bit of money to do this stuff, I think they're going to accelerate super fast. And I think that you're going to have people that are at the bottom that don't have the skill set to do it, that don't have the time to do it, don't have the money to, whatever that is. They're gonna be pushed even further back. And I think that we're going to see this extending gradation over the next couple of years, probably. And it could happen very, very, very fast. And then, do I think people are going to lose their jobs? Yeah, 100%. Like a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, but the people that are on top of stuff, the people I just mentioned on the higher end, I think they're gonna like it's gonna be a greater and greater consolidation of power and wealth, as we all know. But there is huge opportunity right now. That's what I think. There's a lot of other stuff to say about this, but I'm sure you guys are keeping on top of that if you're listening to me. All right. Any other questions? Security, uses, other items, anything else y'all want to talk about? Give you guys 1 second. I'm happy.
Hi.
Oh, wait, we got
Okay. Yeah.
Karen. All right, Karen. There we go. All right. Is it worth doing a course on EA IA evals for
AI.
PMs? Yeah, they're expensive. I
So I
mean,
can,
yeah, you go ahead, Ida. You answer that
you can go
question.
ahead. We've had a lot of requests for evals, and so we are putting something together. If you're
Perfect.
interested, you'll see something. But go ahead with your answer as well, Jason.
I think you answer that. Like that's your business. I don't want to step on it. So yeah, I would go through here for that. My where I'm at on things is that the amount of work that I have put on my own plate from what I've got from what just asking Claude about what I should do next is unbelievable. But also the speed at which I can move on things. Like I said, as I had just sales meetings this morning, I built an entire system to just be able to chat with my CRM and like add stuff back and forth in the CRM. Like that would have taken a team of people a year to do. Like what? A year and a half ago? A year ago? And now I did it in my spare time while I was on meetings. so much stuff that I can do now, so much power in my hands. It's crazy. So I haven't had even time to think about other aspects of doing stuff. Other questions? I got the thumbs up. Thank you, Karen. Of course. Yeah, no problem, Catherine. All right.
Sounds
We
good.
are right at the right at the top of the hour. So
Yep, I've also checked LinkedIn. There are no more questions. Everyone is asking about the recording, so it will be available on productmanagementexercises.com in community sessions. And it's available for free. We do put it on YouTube, so you can watch it there as well. Jason, a couple questions. If you'll be sharing your slides, I can touch base with you, and if you do, we'll add them there. Fantastic. So we'll add the slides to our website as well, so you guys can have access. Just a reminder, yeah, we do have courses. We've got AI product management certificates. We've got building prototypes. We've got building AI agents, and we've got an evals course coming up as well. So. And you can learn a lot of that on our async track. So in your own time, a lot of our courses, we put the recordings on. You could learn it in your own time as well if you don't want to do a live course. So check it out, productmanagementexercises.com. Jason, thank you so much. Incredible session, very valuable. I know people are going to be watching the recording because it is a lot of content, and hopefully they can reach out to you as well if they need to. They can find you on LinkedIn. You are tagged on the event if anybody needs to find you there. And thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
absolutely. And in the slides, by the way, there's a bunch of hidden slides that I didn't present that have like the deep dive on a lot of this stuff. So when you get the slides, take a look. There's a lot more content in there.
Sounds good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And last couple of days of February, enjoy March. Hopefully, bring some warm days wherever you are.
This is Harita, and I am Director of Automation at Eversana. And in my past, I have seen AI projects, generative AI projects, but there was always some level of discomfort when approaching with questions to the engineers and architects, because just a lack of understanding of the technology. Well, I used to read online, learn some, do some self-learning, but it's hard to retain until you start putting something together on your own. And that's what the cohort helped us do is, introduce all the concepts, and we could go back and read more about it. Plus, applied immediately towards the end of the cohort. And that gave us much more confidence in talking to our engineers, our data people, and even trying to analyze a problem and see how a machine learning solution would fit in here. So huge shout out to Bijan and Kai for helping us in there. And I can personally vouch for this cohort because the kind of confidence that I got have now before compared to what I had before cohort is like night and day. I understand the concepts more. I know what I should ask my engineer. So highly recommend it.